What is going on, guys? Welcome back to your Lake Fork Guide. We got a special episode today. I believe that this will be the most in-depth breakdown of what went down at the Bassmaster Elite Series 2021 from Lake Fork. Hashtag Goat Lake. Yeah, baby. And by the way, welcome to the Sideshow, folks. That's right. I have now officially become Sideshow Billy Lawless. That is the nickname that I have been blessed to receive from none other than the MC, Mr. Dave Mercer, who has referred to me that several times on coverage this week. And I'll be honest with you, it's one of the coolest things ever because, hey, Dave Mercer's the guy that gives all these fishermen nicknames, and now I have a Mercer-adorned nickname. Like, Mercer gave me a nickname, and it's Sideshow Billy Lawless. So, no matter what I think of the nickname, actually, you know what? It's a really fitting nickname, so I kind of love it. So, Mercer, appreciate you, big dog. So, basically today, guys, we're going to have a behind-the-scenes documentary type of video that's going to be from the 2021 Bassmaster Elite Series at Lake Fork. We're going to get behind the weigh-in stage. We're going to talk to anglers, talk to them about what they're seeing on the water. We're going to get on the water. I'm going to break down areas in depth because a lot of these areas I know I've fished a ton of times being a guide here on Lake Fork, and I'm going to break down those areas and what's under the water that you can't really see when you're watching the live coverage. So we're going to cover that as well. And it's going to be a bit of a longer format video because we got a ton of content from some of the tournament anglers. We're going to have a ton of time on the water watching them, seeing what they're doing, trying to break it all down for you. So bear with us. This will be a long form video. Hey, but before we get started, I want to go over just a couple things. Whenever you're blessed and fortunate enough to have one of these Bassmaster Elite Series events on your home body water, go watch them. Go get on the water and watch them. You can learn a lot. But there's a few things you need to do. A, you need to keep your distance. Don't get too close. Boats make noise. Fish become aware of boats. Give those guys some room. Everybody that I saw here at Lake Fork as far as spectators gave these guys a lot of room. Really respectful of all those guys. A couple other things. Turn your front electronics off. We keep those off when we're out here watching because those sonars and those electronics go tick, 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 and ping, 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 ping. And if you just need to have your electronics on for mapping or whatever, like I need on my console to drive, I'm going to show you guys how you can help them there too. So one thing you want to do is you want to go into your electronics on your console if you need your map and make sure that you stop your sonar and your down imaging. Make sure you have nothing pinging a signal down there, and I'll show you how to do that real quick. All right, so I got my graph on here. You can see my sonar, my down, my side is all operating. I'm going to go ahead and select sonar. I'm going to go to menu, I'm going to go to more options, and there's a stop sonar button right here. We're going to hit that, see my sonar stopped. Then we're going to go to my down imaging, and down imaging and side imaging work off same transducer, so we'll hit that, more options, stop sonar, stopped. My boat is now giving off 0 pings. I am making no noise. When I'm sitting here, the only thing making any noise while I'm watching an angler is the little bit that I'm using my trolling motor or when my trolling motor is on spot lock and it's turning. That's the only noise I'm emitting. It's important to be respectful of these guys. They get 8 chances a year to make their living. Yes, they make sponsor dollars and other things too. It's not just about tournament winnings. But all of the sponsor dollars and everything that they are able to execute on is all dependent on how they do on the water 8 times a year. They only get 8 chances. So be respectful of that. Turn all your stuff off. Don't fish. 0 rods in my boat today. I took them all out, left them in the garage before I left. No rods in my boat. Do not fish when these guys are out here. Don't watch Lee Livesey whack a record bag off a shell bed point, and then when he leaves, go over there and fish it. That's a terrible idea. That's a terrible idea. Until the moment that the tournament's over. When they go in for the final weigh-in on the final day, let it rip, Tater Chip. Use what you've learned from those guys and go get after them. But while the tournament is still going on, or say it's Friday and they're going to be fishing again Saturday morning, don't go out there Friday afternoon and go fishing in these areas that you're seeing these guys fish. In fact, I don't even want to fish on the lake anywhere because here's the deal. One of the leaders, let's say nobody's fishing this point, so I'm out here on a Saturday and I want to fish this point. Well, nobody's fishing it, so I got every right to fish it. But what happens if later that afternoon Patrick Walter shows up here and needs to catch a fish? I do not want to burn any fish when these guys are here, and I highly recommend that you guys do the same. I understand some of us only get to fish once in a while, and if this is your opportunity to fish, you probably should go to a different lake, because it's just really, really important. If you're a fan of this sport, which if you're watching this video about the Bassmaster Elite Series on Lake Fork, you're a fan of the sport. If you are, then be a good fan and be respectful, and don't catch fish on those lakes when those guys are trying to win those tournaments. All that being said, get out there on the water and completely enjoy yourself watching the best in the game. And this week we got to watch the best in the game on the best pond in the game. Absolutely. We got like the greatest field of anglers, and we got the Goat Lake, and it combined for what you're about to see. A train wreck of awesomeness is what we saw. It was unbelievable what went down here at Lake Fork. So let's get into that. And to begin with, let me kind of give you a rundown of what happened on days 1 and 2. So on day 1, our guy, the guy that's a great friend of the channel, we've talked to him several times, Mr. Patrick Walters, jumps out to a good lead on day 1. He catches 32 pounds and 14 ounces. He said going into that day that he was planning on doing the shell bed, shad spawn deal for the first hour or 2 of the morning. Then he was planning on going to sight fish. The word going into this tournament, the general consensus, mine included, was that this would be a sight fishing derby, that guys would be looking at them. The leaders would all be looking at them for the most part, with a couple exceptions. That turned out to be completely wrong for Patrick Walters on day 1. It turned out to be pretty much almost completely wrong for the rest of the event, honestly. Patrick Walters shows up on a shell bed first thing in the morning, and he starts catching bigs. And he only caught like 6 or 7 fish on day 1, but he had 32 pounds. So he stayed with it, and rightfully so, and had a great, great first day. Now, the rest of the field, it was kind of split. There was a lot of dudes that had really good days on day 1 sight fishing, but there were some other guys, like Lee Livesey. They caught like 25 pounds. And they weren't fishing sight fishing. They were fishing staging fish on shallow points. And there were several guys that were in the 25 plus pound bag range, 27, 26, 25. And just, there was 35 bags over 20 pounds on the first day. Just insane amount of quality fish being caught out here in this event. Move forward to day 2. We've got storms threatening that evening. They had a shorter day. They actually called the tournament off early. They scheduled it for these guys to stop fishing early, because we had severe storms threatening the lake right at time to get off the water if they would have went to normal time. So they actually fished a couple hours less than they normally would. So the weights did go down a little bit. We had cold weather Thursday night going into Friday, and we had cold weather Wednesday night going into Thursday night. So we're dealing with cold fronts. Now we're dealing with severe storm threat. We don't have as much time throughout the day. So the weights actually dropped a little bit on day 2. And after day 2, Brandon Card had jumped into the lead. Now Brandon Card was doing something completely different than the rest of the field. He was fishing mid-depth creek channel areas with creek channel bends and sharp drop-offs. And we're going to show you those areas and break them down for you in a little bit. But he was doing something completely different, and he was leading day 2. Then we go to day 3, okay? And once we get to day 3, that's when I was out here at the weigh-in, and we got to interview some of these guys at the weigh-in after day 3. So I'm going to let them kind of tell you what happened on day 3. Well, guys, I'm here with Seth Fighter, who's had a great tournament so far. Now, where did you end up in the final standings? Because they turned live coverage off for that last hour. Where did you finally end up?
Hard to say. Bass Track's been a little off this week. Right now, it's got me an 8th, but 8th. That could go up and down a few spots. So.
Could go up and down, and what else can happen on Lake Fork is if you're in the top 10, you're really not out of it on this pond, because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, you can't. Anybody can catch 30 pounds and win, so it's exciting fishing out there.
Yeah, well, now, we've seen you kind of doing a little bit of a couple different things. I've seen you throwing that white swim jig. You're kind of the only guy we've seen this week throwing that white swim jig around. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I caught one big one on it today. I shook off 2 good ones in practice, but that was the first one I actually caught in the tournament. I'm just, covering water up there when I do go look for spawners, and it's a good way to catch a fry garter or a pre-spawner or whatever,
Doing a lot of sight fishing too?
I've actually only weighed in 3 sight fish, a lot of swim bait and cranking, jerking, depending on the day. Yesterday was like all jerk bait, today was pretty much all swim bait.
How much fun was that shad spawn this morning?
The first few casts were fun. It died off pretty quick.
It did. That's awesome, man.
Well, if we got the blast half hour earlier, you'd really whack them, but it is what it is.
Absolutely. Now, one more question.
Yep.
Do you have any tips on how to make my hair grow?
Just don't cut it.
Just don't cut it. That's a problem. I keep putting that razor to it. Well, brother, it was great.
Cut it, it'll get long.
Great to meet you. Thank you for taking the time, man. Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks, bud.
Right. Well, here we go, guys. I got the last Lake Fork champion.
And the future.
It might be.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I got my money on this guy.
Well, it's ironic that you said that, because I've been doing live streams every night after the tournaments. And after yesterday, I said, well, Quentin Capo's been the most successful guy out here. And what I also said was, close your ears, he's fishing it the right way on this pattern, because you're running more spots than anybody else. And on that deal, on that shad spawn point deal, you got to run a bunch of them if you want to hit that mother load sometimes.
It's just you got to get lucky. There's so many people out there, but these fish are so precious. So it's all about boat position and trying to get it out there.
Absolutely.
Nobody else.
You really got to find biting fish.
You have to find.
That's the thing.
Yes.
There's fish I think on every single point, but you got to find the active ones.
That's right.
I have milked one point. I swear to God, that udder is dry, but every time I catch one, it's over 5. Every single time.
Yeah, I mean, one swing in the bat, man. It's
true.
Most of the time, it's a good one. Man.
Wait, and we haven't seen the truly crazy thing this week. Excuse me. Go ahead. We haven't seen the truly crazy moment this week where one of you guys pulls up on the points and goes like 5 or 6 or 8 fish in a row, because when this lake peaks on that shad spawn deal, that's what happens, and it's crazy. So who knows? A lot of sunshine, going to turn the wind back out of the south tomorrow. Do you think that'll help you with being back out of the south?
I think tomorrow's going to be the best day of fishing we've had yet, because I think the fish are finally pulling it. I mean, every spot's getting loaded and loaded just as much more. So I think we're going to catch it.
Well, he's wearing pajama-looking pants. He's got golf breeches on. Austin Felix is joining us. What's up, man? It's great to meet you. So,
Might or might not be using your little bite fishing bait out here.
I may have noticed that on the red bead and the natural color. I saw that on camera today. That was awesome, man. So you're the kind of the guy that's in the top 10 that's done the most bed fishing, I think, right? Yeah. You gonna stick with it tomorrow?
Yeah.
Tomorrow's gonna be the bed fishing day.
Tomorrow's gonna be fun, and tomorrow I'm just gonna hit the bank and find new ones. Today I spent the first half of the day trying to go back to old fish, and there's enough pulled up today. It seemed like there were some fresh ones. It was like one pitch, and they just
there should be some real new ones coming in. Yep, absolutely.
So tomorrow,
I did not find that. I didn't. I pulled up to one dock and caught 2 back to back, and I was like, okay, thank God. Like, never went shallow. The only dock I fished.
Man, I know y'all are busy, y'all are running, y'all are working, so I'm gonna let y'all go. But hey, all 3 of y'all, thank you so much.
Thank you, buddy.
It's great to meet you two guys. Awesome. Good luck to all y'all tomorrow.
Go to Texas Share Look or Take, and there you go. There's your Lake Fork over. For 29 pounds and 3 ounces is going to jump you all the way to 3rd place, moving into day number 4.
Oh man, what a day. About 20 minutes ago I caught my last 6-pounder there. I had 2 6s. That one was only 6 pounds, but it was over 24 inches. And so I've been targeting pre and post spawn fish. A lot of guys are out here fishing for spawning fish. I like chasing these Lake Fork bass when they're actually feeding and chasing. And today it's set up right for it. We had a wind direction change. We're gonna have another wind direction change tomorrow. And those are the types of things I'm looking for right now. I'm just running and gunning, throwing big baits at them, doing what I like to do, just have a couple rods on my deck, and it was an amazing day today, and I hope to have an amazing day tomorrow.
All right, guys, we caught up with Stetson Blaylock. Now, he may not be necessarily a Lake Fork local, but I can tell you, I've seen a black and yellow boat around this lake a bunch, man. Is it good to be back in Fork this week?
It is. Yeah, this week, as you already know and have talked about plenty, there's so many things going on. I never could get settled in. I tried to bed fish, and it just dried up. Today, I ran around trying to find new ones, and I had 4 or 5 big ones marked yesterday that I thought would be ready. And I don't know if the lightning or what happened, but they were gone. They just vanished. And then I picked up a frog because I didn't have nothing in the boat to go deep.
Right.
And the shad spawn deal's going on a little bit, but I never did find it. And I kind of made my mind up I wasn't going to do that anyway once I saw all the big ones on beds. But you know how it is. It's just a challenge some
It
days
is.
here.
Sometimes this lake, and you fished here enough, you know that very well. But, man, it's good to see you again. Another
absolutely.
Good tournament. It wasn't like you had a bad
Sure.
event or anything.
Yeah.
I know you would have wanted better. But you're right. I mean, the bed fish were weird. And I noticed it Wednesday, right before the tournament started, I was like, there's a lot of fish that have been here that are gone. There's some new ones that are here, but they're not right. So, that full moon coming right after the event, I think it would have been a whole different. You think it would have been a different deal if we just started on Monday?
I think it would have, but I think I hate to use this every time we go somewhere, but the weather plays such a huge role when you're fishing, and here it killed it. Like if it wouldn't have had that cold front, there would have been, I'm going to say 20, 30-pound bags just off beds on the first day.
Absolutely.
There was a lot of 6 to 8 pounders on beds, and you could just go down the bank and see them, and they were 1 pitchers. A lot of them wasn't even on a bed. They were just getting up there, and you could throw in front of them, they'd eat it. But that's how it is here. When things get right, it'll go off, and it just never happened with the cold front and the lightning we had last night.
Well, man, that's awesome, brother. Hey, great job, dude. It's great to see you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for taking the time.
Absolutely.
Well, all right. We got the man himself. going into day 4 with the lead. How does that feel?
It feels good. I mean, today was a slow day. I had like 3 flurries, really.
Right.
I mean, and honestly, I'm shocked that I'm still in the lead. I mean, I'm bringing in 21:10. I thought I was going to be like in 4th or 5th, but I guess it was just a tougher day, with the weather last night, maybe. I don't know.
Weather, wind direction changed, the north wind changed. I think that caused some problems for the guys doing the shad spawn because the wind was total opposite of yesterday. So I think tomorrow will be a better day, hopefully. Hopefully will. Now, one thing that we saw you do that was really cool is you're fishing a creek channel bend way up in Little Caney with some like mid-depth stuff, some mid-depth crankbaits, some spinning jerk baits. That's your hammer hole. That's where you've caught most of your weight in this event. Man, I fish this lake quite a bit. I've never seen anybody fish that creek bend in April. You probably drug your crankbait over about 35 of my jigs from the wintertime. But I've never seen anybody fish that creek bend. So how'd you come across that? Like, tell us how you discovered that.
Well, so the first day of practice, I found a shallow school in one of those creeks over there close to Mustang. I don't know the name of it, but it was like an 8 to 12 foot school. And so I was like, all right, well, that, because I wanted to fish offshore, and I checked all my stuff from 2019, which in 2019 I was fishing like, most of my spots were like the teens to like low 20s.
Right, you were more deep cranking.
Deep. Now, I did have one shallow school, but yeah, so I checked all that, and I was like, well, they're not out here. So then I just started looking in creeks, found that one school, and I was like, all right, well, I'll find some more. The whole entire next day 2 of practice, 0 schools. I was like, I said, now I've idled for 2 days, and I got 1 school.
It's not good.
No. And so day 3, I went looking for spawning fish and got completely sidetracked, and actually found a pretty good area up on this fork.
Right.
And so late in the day, day 3 of practice, I ran back down here and I found 2 more schools.
Good.
Just pulled the rabbit out.
It's like,
and so one of them was that hammer hole.
Right.
And I was just idling real easy, and I was idling that creek channel, any little turn, and found them there and threw in there like twice and caught 2 fish, and I was like, I'll definitely throw here tomorrow. Yeah.
It was very unique to see somebody fishing that spot this time of year because, like I said, in all the years that I fish, I fish up there quite a bit. I do a lot of bed fishing and shallow flipping and all that up there, but I've never quite seen anybody do that in a spawning time of year with that mid-depth creek. So basically, you just found a school of fish in that depth and then just started looking for more in that depth, and that's how you stumbled into that depth.
Yeah, just stumbled into it. Yeah, late in the day on day 3 of practice.
Really cool.
And really, I would have started probably in there, but I got sidetracked with the sight fish, and I went and burned 2 or 3 hours day one of the tournament. But I always get burned sight fishing, so I'm glad I bailed on it when I did.
Right. So are we gonna see you on the hammer hole in the morning?
I'm gonna start there. I mean, yesterday there was a shad spawn there. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I saw him flicker a little bit.
Yeah, so that was a shad spawn there yesterday. Day 1, I got there too late. Obviously, I got there like 10 o'clock on day 1, and then today no shad spawn at all. So
it was a different day today.
Yeah, so hopefully they'll be back on that, and then I can catch them early, and it won't be such a grind.
Yeah.
But I mean, all in all, happy with it.
Absolutely. You're in first place after day 3.
Got to go back out there and do it
again.
Thank
you so much for taking time to do this. Good luck, brother.
Yeah,
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
This is a challenge so
we got the guy, our favorite guy. I don't know if you remember me telling you that before. He's our number 1. This is our number 1 favorite fisherman on the channel right here. Mr. Greg Hagney, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
It is great to see you again. I got ants on my feet right now. Hey, let's move a little bit. Let's move a little bit. We got some fire ants. Y'all got those in Louisiana?
We have 1 or 2 piles of them in my yard.
Yes, sir. Anyways, man, it's great to see you again, first of all. How's Lake Fork been to you this week?
You know, I thought it was going to really, really show out for me this week, but it got a little tougher, and I just didn't adjust with the fish. Those fish that I was fishing for them shallow. Was planning on looking at everything I caught, and man, I don't know. We had to, it got cloudy that first day of the tournament and stayed kind of cold, and those fish left. And I think, honestly, looking at the weather that's coming next week, it's going to be a phenomenal here.
Yeah, I talked to Stetson a little bit earlier, and I said, man, if y'all would have been here like 4 days before or 4 days after on the start date, it's like you just kind of got in between waves a little bit.
We just had a couple. The weather was kind of funny, and I will tell you one thing about these fish that I've noticed. These fish are very timid. These fish get fished for a lot here. You know, it's a highly pressured lake, and it seems like it really affects how they act. You know, a lot of lakes, when they come to the bank like that, they will not leave until they get finished.
100%.
But this lake, you let boats get around them, and these fish, they know what to do. They know how to hide. You know, they hide. They go back out there in that timber and suspend and wait till things get right. You know, there's a huge wave of fish fixing to show up here on the bank, and I think that's really what played into the hands of those guys that are catching them out on those points. They're not fishing deep, but just out on those points, that all those fish, when they moved, they just went out there and the shatter spawn, you know, the shad spawn has started, and that's been kind of the deal. And I just kind of got locked into that whole deal of fishing the bank and fishing for those sight fish. And I kept thinking, even the last couple of days after I lost a big wave, I really just been looking for a giant, you know, one of those Lake Fork giants. And still a couple of them, you know, the big one yesterday, 913 at Clifford Perch caught sight fishing, and Carl Jackson caught a 9.4. Still the biggest fish that I've caught this week were caught on beds. Yeah, were caught on beds. So I just said, you know what? You know, maybe I get lucky and find a pocket that nobody's in or nobody's been in and find a couple of those, and it didn't happen. But it has been fun, and it's been a good week, and I'm fixing to leave. I start practice as soon as I get to Pickwick before I'm going to fish the Open, the first Central Open on Pickwick next week. And I feel like it'll be real similar to, you know, the way things are going here. The weather's going to be nice and warm there, just like it is here next week. So this is the time of the year. It's the bass rut. You want to fish as much as you can.
The rut, I like it.
Yeah, it is. You know, it's that time of the year when it's going down, and a lot of fish are shallow, and it's my favorite time of the year to fish. So try to fish as much as I can.
Get after it, brother.
Yeah,
we'll be watching and pulling for you, my man. Good to see you. Yes, sir. Thank you. What an awesome bunch of dudes. You know, these guys get out there and mentally grind all day long. They're physically tired. They're mentally tired when they get off the water. And I really, really appreciate every one of them. And I've never been turned down by any of them. They always are willing to take the time to talk to you for a few minutes. Really appreciate all those guys. But day 3 was a great day. We saw Quentin Capo show up towards the top of the field. Actually, we saw Taco Itu also. I forgot about this. On day 2, catch that giant bag of fish. Just a lot of special things happening. And now Quentin Capo's in the mix. Now Patrick Walters is back in the mix after day 3. Had a great day. We've got Brandon Card leading, doing something completely different than the rest of the field. Even though Brandon Card kind of struggled on a lot of day 3, he still maintained the lead. He had a 7-pound lead at the end of the day. Going into day 4, what other position could you want to be in? Lee Livesey hung in there after day 3. He's hanging in there. He's right at 74 pounds, something like that. He's right in the mix as well. I believe he was in 5th place. We got Zaldane that has jumped up with a huge bag on day 3 with the big bait. Like, it's going down, down, down right now. So for day 4 action, let's now take you out on the water. We're going to go hit some areas. We're going to break them down and talk to you guys about the details of what's going on underneath the surface in these areas where these guys are catching these giant bags of fish. All right, guys, if you look behind me and see the furthest boat you can see, that's going to be Mr. Chris Zaldane. He's over there throwing that big bait. Chris has locked into the big bait game. That's all he's throwing throughout this entire event. He is still very much in the tournament, mainly because of how he's fishing. You never know when a guy is throwing a big bait like that on shallow areas this time of year on Fork is going to catch a couple of giants. The area we see Chris fishing right now is kind of a little bit different than some of the stuff that we've seen these shallow point, shell bed, shad spawn guys fishing in this tournament. There's really not a point there. You know, a lot of these places are very obvious extended points. This is kind of a flat bank, a nondescript bank, like there's not a lot of obvious contours to it. But there is some shell bed over there. There's some hard spots, some shell, and there's also a seawall there, and the shad do spawn on that, so no doubt about it. He's still fishing the same pattern. It's just a little bit more of a unique area. Quentin Capo also, I know on day 3, it was either day 2 or day 3, I for sure saw Quentin Capo fishing the same little stretch and did really well here. I think it was the first time in the event that we saw him Quentin catch one on the topwater walking bait, which has kind of turned out to be the key technique. Well, guys, we still got several hours left in the day, so we're not for sure exactly how it's going to shake out. It would be a Patrick Walters, Lee Livesey, Quentin Capo. Who knows who it's going to be? But most likely, we're now sitting where this tournament was won and lost. Because right behind me, that's the island that we saw Lee Livesey go off on the morning of day 4. We also saw Quentin Capo come in there and catch the same 5-pounder twice. Crazy deal. Hopefully you guys saw that. Quentin Capo catches a 5.9. He releases the fish, picks up his crankbait, backhand flips out there to get a backlash out, and the same fish bites again, catches the same fish again. It was just one of the most insane things we've ever seen in fishing history. Now, that's the point right there that Lee Livesey lit up. Quentin Capo did the weird crazy catch. That's the point right there that Patrick Walters did most of his damage on the morning of the last day. Quentin Capo also fished that point early in the morning. Quentin Capo fished that point the day before. Patrick Walters also on day 3 caught most of his weight on that point right there. So this little neck down area right here towards the north end of Little Caney, This is where this tournament happened, guys. This is it, man. And one thing that I've noticed about a lot of these shallow point shad spawn deals, that the guys that are succeeding on that pattern, one thing they all have in common: the shallow points that they're catching them on are very close to early spawning grounds. Behind that island, directly behind that island, is one of the most notorious, most well-known early spawning areas on Lake Fork. And what that means is there's been fish spawning in that area longer than other areas of the lake, which means there are more fish that have pulled back out into a post-spawn feeding pattern in these areas. That really seems to be a key deal amongst the shallow points that we've seen this week. The guys that are winning, they're fishing areas where we've had fish spawning longer, and they've got some pre-spawn fish still there, but they've also got a lot more post-spawn fish in those areas versus the areas where we saw Patrick Walters on days 1 and 2 when he was down on the south end of the lake, very south end of Little Caney, down on the main lake where fish spawn later. You know, guys, one of the things that makes this area so unique and so dynamic, and why we've seen so many anglers in this one particular section of Little Caney, is the shad spawn deals going down. We're fishing shallow points. And like we said, the island's right there. The Patrick Walters points are right there. There's one, there's 2 points right there. There's also another point that comes off these reed heads and extends out. There's also another point over here off this clay bank that comes out and extends out. There's just right here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these super obvious, super dynamic, obvious pieces of structure that those shad are going to spawn on and those bass are going to feed on while that's happening. Now we've come up to the area where Brandon Card did most of his damage. Now he was the leader through day 3. Day 4 so far hasn't gone his way. We'll have to see what happens at the final weigh. And like I said, there's still several hours of this event left, so there's no telling how it's going to shake out. But this is the now infamous hammer hole. And as you see what I'm showing you on the electronics right here, there's a big creek channel swing right here, a big creek channel bend. It's got significant drops. You guys can see some of that on the electronic shots that I took for you. But this is right where he was. He was casting. There's a creek channel bend, goes around like this right here. Got real big drop offs, a lot of heavy timber, and it was just a very unique thing because in April, you know, we're thinking about fish back in that pocket where that boat is right there, or where that boat is right there, or back in that pocket. Like, that's what we're thinking about in April, right? If you're going to come up here in an area like this. Now, the other option is, of course, the shad spawn, the shallow points. We've talked about that at length on this channel. We've talked about that at length on this video. But that's what everybody else in this tournament was doing, was shallow points and bank-driven fish, pocket-driven fish that were spawning. That was the 2 patterns. But Brandon Card came out here on a creek channel bend, and as you see on my waypoints on my graph, I fish this thing religiously in the wintertime, but I have never even contemplated coming to this spot right here. He was out here throwing a medium diving crankbait, throwing a swim bait on a jig head, throwing a jerk bait, and then while he was here, shad started spawning in that little corner on the grass edges right there, and he went up there and capitalized a couple key bites in there as well. So a very unique way of attacking the lake, a very unique breakdown, and it's going to get him an awesome check. I don't know how day 4 is going to shake out in the end for Brandon Card. It's not been looking so good so far today, but either way, the guy fished against the toughest field of anglers you can imagine, and he's going to get a top 10 finish and a big check and make a lot of money this week. And he found it completely different than what everybody else is doing, something he found completely on his own, very, very unique. I've never seen anybody fish this in April. Now we pull up to another point of interest from this tournament, and really every time they have a tournament here, this seems to be a point of interest. I don't know how well this will show up, but you can see the red dirt coming out. There's a shallow point that extends here. This is where Patrick Walters caught his big bag, 32 pounds on the first day, was right here. He also fished there most of the second day, didn't do nearly as well. Also, before we talk more about what Patrick Walters did, there's another orange spot right over there. There's a hump with a point that runs out of it over there. That's where Seth Fighter caught the biggest bass of the entire tournament when they were here in November. Also, just beyond that, where you see that boat way over there in the background, that is exactly where Patrick Walters went over the 100-pound mark at the end of the last tournament when they were here. He caught a couple big fish, went over the 100-pound mark. It was an awesome, he got so excited, he fist pumped and knocked his hat and glasses into the drink. Like, it was an awesome moment. If you guys didn't see that, go back, check out the Bassmaster Texas Fish from 2020 in November. Great moment it was had right there. So, some of the biggest fish that we see every time these guys come here are right here. Now we are right outside the mouth of Little Caney. One thing that I think Patrick Walters, it was where it worked against him, was he found some big fish staging on this point. But these fish around these pockets and corners in here just started spawning within the week of the tournament. So these fish were very early. There were no post-spawn fish coming back out in this area. So the first day, Patrick Walters, he only caught like 6 or 7 fish the first day, but he caught some really big ones right here. but then the next day he really struggled and stayed here most of the day, or for a big portion of the day, and it kind of bit him a little bit. What I think happened was those fish were starting to move into spawn, and there were no more coming back out to replenish them because those fish have just started spawning in this section of the lake. Luckily for Patrick, he's one of the best fishermen on planet Earth. He made the adjustments, moved further up into the creek around the earlier spawn areas, and now he's back in contention on day 4. Well, folks, Lee Livesey basically just put this one away for all practical purposes. He just caught another over 8. He caught an 8-14, brings his bag up to 38 pounds. This man is approaching an 8-pound average in his best 5 today. Holy crap. Hopefully you guys saw some of the footage where Lee had a 9-pounder and an 8-pounder and a 7-pounder, and he was like culling 3s and 4-pounders within the first hour and a half of the day. He then went on to catch a couple more key big fish, the latest one being an 8-pound 14-ounce, almost another 9-pounder, 8-pound 14-ounce beast of a Lake Fork bass. And now he's opened up I guess about a 6-pound lead on Patrick Walters, and Patrick Walters already has a 30-pound bag, so it's going to be very difficult for Patrick to cull up 6 more pounds when you're already over 30 and you're already over the Century Club. This tournament's pretty much over at this point, and hey, Lee, congratulations. You have now cemented yourself, in my opinion, as one of the all-time Lake Fork legends. You were kind of always headed there anyway. You now are one of the all-time Lake Fork bass fishing legends, in my opinion. Unbelievable, man. It's going to be an awesome weigh-in. It's going to be a party up there. We're about to go up there and check things out here in a couple hours, and I really don't see a whole lot changing between now and then. This should be good. Well, it's officially over now, folks at home. We pulled up to the scene of the crime. We filmed earlier over there. You saw us talking about this long point on this island up here in Little Canyon, at least caught most of his weight on. This, so much of the event has happened right here in this little neck of the woods, and now we pulled up in Lee's right there, and he's got quite the gallery of boats with him. As you can see, it's pretty insane. One thing I want to point out is, hey, don't be this guy. Y'all see that guy over there? That guy's fishing right on the other side of the island from Lee, who's leading the tournament and has now caught another heavy 7, almost 8-pounder, and he is within 3 pounds of the all-time record. He's at 42 pounds and change. He's 3 pounds from the all-time single-day record. His smallest fish in his best 5 is 7 pounds 6 ounces. This is one for the history books, guys. This is my favorite professional level event that I've ever seen go down at Lake Fork. It's because it is Lake Fork. This is my favorite professional tournament I've ever seen, period. And to be able to be here on the water and also to have the understanding of a lot of the areas is just like so cool. Like we mentioned earlier, this spot right here is on the Fish Life app. It has been on the Fish Life app since March. Actually, we left it on there in April because obviously it's still, you might say it's pretty good. He's caught most of his weight off this one spot today. But once again, Lee's up to 112 pounds now. And once again, Lee, man, congratulations. Holy crap. Let's go to the weigh-in and let's go talk to some anglers. So if you guys are coming to Lake Fork and you want to try to find these shad spawn areas, these shallow point, shell bed, clay points is what they're. They're clay points that have shell and gravel and a lot of really hard spots mixed in. But the one that's right behind me right now is a perfect example of that. This is one I haven't seen anybody fishing in the tournament. I didn't want to run up on anything in the last hour competition that somebody might want to use for the last hour competition. I haven't seen anybody fish this one the last couple days, so I figured this would be a safe one. Anyways, clay point, it extends way out. You can see the red dirt. You can see it a lot better with polarized glasses on than you can without. So hopefully it's showing up on the camera for you guys. But we'll even try the old Waterland camera lens here for a second, see if that helps. I don't know whether it will or not. Anyways, clay point, that's it. It's really, really simple to find. You run around, you look for these points where you see that red clay running out. Those are the prime spots. Those are the prime spots for this shad spawn pattern that you guys have been watching go down at the Elite Series.
Yeah, baby. We got him. Yeah. Woo, baby. We got him.
Everybody missing with them all. Oh, thank God.
freaking awesome, bro. Awesome stuff.
Oh, big.
Now, I gotta ask you, Taku. You said you didn't like big bass on day 2. I got a feeling you like them now.
I like it. Sorry, one more please.
You said you didn't like them because they pulled so hard, but I think you like them now, right? Because you're here on day 4.
Yes, I like. Yes, I love big fish, but big fish is too much strong for me. So sometimes stuck in the tree and stuck in the stump. So very hard for me. So I like a 2-pounder bass.
Gotta take a break. Taku Idu, let's hear it for him.
Thank you very much. I love Texas.
83-14, nice week.
Those 2 baits, those were the big ones.
I think you guys already know who's coming through the line, but we'll introduce him. 70 pounds and 2 ounces through 3 days of fishing. Let's get loud for Lee Livesey. Texas, let's hear it for Lee Livesey. 2-ounce Lake Fork monster right there. Third biggest bag in bass fishing history of 42 pounds and 3 ounces.
Come on, baby. With the Whiskey Myers jamming. Let's go.
And that is going to move you into the lead. You knew you needed to go big, and big you went.
I have no words right now. It's amazing. It just finally happened. You know, I've been around them. I haven't caught any big ones all week. You know, I just survived. And today everything just worked out, and it never goes like that. It just worked out, and I caught big ones everywhere I went. Started off with big ones, ended with big ones. It was just one of those surreal days. And it's just amazing because I've spent a lot of time on this lake.
I mean, we were watching it. I'm going to break it down. We can do this with this format. You caught a 9-2 start off, then you caught a 7-6, an 8-15, an 8-14, and a 7-14. Your smallest fish was a 7-pound, 6-ounce fish. I mean, just a massive bag.
Yeah, when I asked Holly what my smallest fish was, and she said a 7-6. I said, I don't know what to do.
And did you miss any today? I think you missed a couple too, didn't you?
I missed a giant 8 or 9 pounder right before I came in, right here on the island.
Oh man, just a magical day. We're gonna see what shakes out at the end, but still, just a day most anglers can just dream about being out on the water.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, look at this crowd. Texas shows out everywhere we go. I mean, everywhere. This is amazing. This is the best lake in the world. I tell everybody knows it, you know, and just, it was awesome. You know, I'm not even gonna name names, all my family, my fiance, sister, mom, dad, every friend. I mean, I got sponsors out there. At one point in time, I think we had 44 boats following me this afternoon. That's just amazing, you know. And they got rowdy, whether it was a 1-pounder or an 8-pounder, they didn't care. So I can't ask for a better group of you know, family, friends, sponsors, Bassmaster, everything. I'm ecstatic. Let's get it going.
Cruising through 71 pounds and 2 ounces through his 3 days of fishing. Let's get loud for Patrick Walters. And I'm told he has an over in that bag. As he brings it to the stage, we will show that off. And he needed to go big.
I think I misunderstood you. I think you said 42 pounds.
He needed to go big. Hey, we gotta go hold the fish up. And he went big again, 2 30-pound bags in this tournament for 31.3 today. Takes him to 102 pounds and 5 ounces. And look at that 9-pound, 5-ounce big bass of the day, Lake Fork monster. 9 pounds and 5 ounces. Well, Patrick, you knew you needed to go big. You're the only angler to pop 2 30-pound bags this week. Unfortunately, Lee just had 42 pounds.
I think I could have caught 25 pounds on day 2 when I only caught 15, and it still wouldn't have been enough. You know, if you're going to get beat on Lake Fork, it has to get beat by a 40-pound bag. I'm telling you, big hats off to Lee. That dude is the man. For him on his home pond, I just had a good week. I really do love this place. I told him when on live, I said, baby, you better start looking for real estate because I might be the next local here. But I do love this place. I do love Texas. I got everything packed up. I'm about to head to Pickwick. And gosh, I'm just happy I cracked 100 pounds. I'm telling you, just a little deflating catching 31 pounds. And you just like, oh yeah, 31. I mean, whatever.
You got one more crack at Texas, though, in about a month, right down the road.
That's the plan. I'm looking forward to Ray Roberts, definitely Fort Worth. I just like Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas, and we'll see what happens.
You sure?
Thank y'all for this crowd. Love y'all. Y'all be good.
Catching up with Austin Felix after day 4. Man, you were kind of out. Listen, on the inside, because I like the sight fish so much, I was really hoping you'd show out today. Today was a little bit tougher, though. What did you see out there?
Yeah, I don't know. I really just went looking for bigger fish.
So you were passing up a lot of the ones.
I was passing up some fish, and the wind blew a little bit harder than I thought it was going to be. Like, there was a solid ripple on the water most places today, so I had to keep running around left, right, around just to try to find that clear, calm water where I could put it on high and still see far enough in front that I didn't just spook everything out of the way. But I didn't really find much. I found one female today, and that was a good one, and fished for her a little bit. Didn't even see the male on the bed, and all of a sudden it swims out. I watch her go, and I stick it, and it's like a 2 3/4 male.
I got you.
And she never came back. So
oh, no.
That was one of the issues, but
sight fishing can bite you sometimes like that. It really felt like as we got into the week, we got a little bit between waves. Did you feel like that?
Yeah. Yesterday I thought, for some reason, I must have just like ran up on a little stretch that they had slid up because they were fresh fish. It seemed like I caught 3 or 4.
Right, they were ready to go.
They were like pitch 1 or 2 pitches,
right,
and they just nosed down and ate it. But today it was back to every fish that you pitch into was doing a 30-yard dash.
That's right. They get tough.
So, but no, it's fun. I love sight fishing. Sight fishing out here is an absolute blast.
Yeah, it's awesome, dude. I'll tell you what, it's going to get better over the next week. We got a full moon coming. We get a little past that full moon. You have some more pairs lock up. It'll be awesome, like it always is out here. We kind of go back and forth between the shallow point and the sight fishing deal. And you stuck with the sight fishing deal this week, though. And I tell you what, I did appreciate one thing. I saw your rig, and she needs the bead, man. She needs the bead. It makes a difference, right?
The bead's key. I know you like to throw a glass bead. I actually throw one of those tungsten beads. It makes the same sort of clack, but it doesn't fray my line. I found when I would use those glass beads, when you set the hook, a lot of times you shatter that
and then you can break your line.
And then it just tear everything to pieces.
Yeah.
I was using braid to a floral leader, so I didn't really want to have to retie my leader a dozen times a day. So, just a tungsten bead. They definitely are a lot easier on the line, but they still give you that clack.
That is awesome. I just learned something. Because I love the glass bead. I'm like, I got to retie after every fish. It's a pain in the butt, whatever. And then sometimes even when you don't, even if you do retie, you still lose fish because of it. So thank you, Austin Felix.
Try it out.
Great tip. Hey, guys, check that one out. We're going to all go get red tungsten beads now. Congrats on a great tournament, great finish. Get back down to Texas in a hurry and holler at me. We'll go have some fun.
It's good to meet you.
All right, brother. You as well. Thank you. Quentin Capo, it didn't really go your way today, brother, man. You were right there. Like, you were so close all week, and you were so consistent. And then what happened?
So, yesterday I think was my fall down. Obviously, with the weights, it wouldn't have mattered if I'd have caught 25 yesterday.
All right.
But, yesterday with that front and the north wind, it just didn't set up my fish the way I wanted.
You had the south wind going complete opposite.
South wind, like day 1, day 2, I was able to capitalize. I should have had about 28, 29 pounds a day. And, when you're in second place and you go out there and catch 25 for 6, you're making them catch them, and that's what I did. And they caught them.
They did. They caught them.
So,
all time. Lee, holy cow, dude. How about that?
That's
third biggest bag of all time. Hometown guy on day 4. That's just one of the best days of bass fishing we've ever seen in history of sport, really.
To have one of those days, everybody always says when you win, your tournament's got to go, but you just have a magical tournament, magical day, you can't mess up. You start the day off at 33 pounds, you got to know something's about to happen.
It was unbelievable watching you go down. It was really fun watching you. I mean, you're not a guy that I've seen around the lake a whole lot, being out here all the time. I see a lot of different guys here. You're not a guy, but you dialed it in, and to me, for most of the tournament, you were fishing at the best, the way it's supposed to be fished, where you're popping in here and there, hitting a lot of points, increasing your odds of colliding with that mega school. Just it never really quite happened in the way that it happened for Lee.
Right. It just I never happened, but that was the deal for me. If I can hit 40 spots,
you got a better chance.
I got a chance to watch one come up and blow up, and that was the deal for me. Water temperature warms up a little bit, shad show up with the wind.
Yeah.
I watch them eat them. So all I got to do is throw a spook. How easy is that?
Right. Let's go. And they crush it.
They crush it. This is the time of year they do it. Yes. It's the way I like to fish it. So, you know what? Great tournament. Great guy that finished it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, I couldn't be more. If I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose to him. I'm okay.
That's right. That's right. Well, brother, awesome job. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. Thank you, brother. So we found Caleb Summerall backstage, and I want to talk to him because everybody's going to be trying to talk to the man of the hour, which is Lee Lafferty. But you probably spend more time on tour with Lee than anybody else. You two are really, really tight.
Yep, that's my boy. I mean, we work well together, but we work hard. That's, you know, that's,
yeah,
I think it's most important. We work equally as hard, you know.
Yeah,
they like the dart, grind it out. And this is his deal, bro.
Well, I know his work ethic from him, you know, being a guide with him out here for years, and you know, not competing when you're guiding, but seeing his work ethic on the lake all the time, and it's unbelievable, man. Just try to explain to us a little bit about how you're feeling for your best friend, your guy.
Dude, that's my boy, bro. I mean, dude, I haven't won one yet, but to see your best friend do that, it just like lights the fire even more, bro. I love seeing him do it. It makes it's so happy for him. Like, but it like motivates me even more to do better and get one of my own. But that's freaking awesome to see you, buddy, do that, bro. What he did today was just a show.
It's not even just that he won. It's home lake. Okay, that's great. It's the third biggest daily stringer of ever.
And then normally, like, don't they have like a home lake curse that they call out? That you know, people that have a big tournament on the lake say it's hard to win on. You know.
Yeah. Well, here's what I'm wondering: are all the rest of you guys going to try and talk Bass from not coming into Lake Fork? Because now that he's broke that, I don't know who else is ever going to win one.
I don't know how you. I don't know how you don't come back to Lake Fork.
Right.
I mean,
of course.
The lake's awesome. I mean, it's so healthy. Today was, I think, for him, I don't know, I wasn't on the water fishing, but I think those fish just showed up for him today, and they were hungry, dude.
They were ready.
And it was the perfect wind, the perfect sun, and they were trying to get that last feed in before they pushed to the bank, and dude, it was the perfect storm for him. That's what I think went down. Yep.
Nailed it. Lake Fork showed, and for those of us that are here all the time, we see this every once in a while, and to have it happen on day 4 for Lee, awesome. Caleb, thank you for taking the time. Good luck. We look forward to seeing you win one very soon, my man. Let's go. Thank you. Well, what an incredible 4 days, to say the least, culminated with just one of the most special moments we've ever seen in bass fishing for Lee Livesey, to have the third biggest single day weight and to win it on his home lake in front of the home crowd. What a freaking crowd. Did you guys see that crowd? Unbelievable job, Lee, man. Congratulations one more time. Congratulations to Bass for just a truly special, magical week. And congratulations, as always, to Lake Fork, the GOAT Lake. Undisputed, I think we can say at this point, GOAT Lake. Lake Fork just showed exactly what she is, and I'm sure I'll be seeing a bunch of y'all around here in the near future because everybody's going to want to be here after watching that go down. But I'm beyond words. This has been an incredible week for me. From the Mercer call-outs, Mercer giving me nicknames on air, and his help with that, and being able to get some media credentials and get backstage with those guys. This has been one of my favorite weeks of my life. This has been an incredible experience. It always is when these guys come down here, when Bass gets down here. But this week was extra special to me for all those reasons mentioned, and I'm just truly honored and humbled, and I feel very fortunate to get to do what I do, and everything that I experienced this week just backs that up tenfold. So, man, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you guys can learn something from this video, because everything we do is designed to help people learn more about fishing, and especially Lake Fork. And I think we covered some stuff that should hopefully help some of you guys in this episode. So thank y'all very much. Hope you got to enjoy the show half as much as I did. And as always, I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you next time right here on your Lake Fork Guide.